Okay, ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to be learning about the trapezoid midsegment. So the midsegment of a trapezoid is a segment that connects the midpoints of the non-parallel sides, hence midsegment, midpoints. So in this screen, PQ is the midsegment of this trapezoid. And you know that you have a midsegment because either you'll be told or you'll see the congruency markings on either side. So those congruency markings just show that BQ is congruent to QC and that AP is congruent to PD, which means that angle or that point Q and point P have to be the midpoints, and your midsegment just connects the two. Alrighty, so we're going to jump to GeoGebra here for a minute and show you a little bit about how we know what the properties are. Okay, so let me slide this, and we're creating a trapezoid, and there's the midsegment. Now, one of the things about the midsegment that we know is that it is parallel. These angles there are all congruent. They are corresponding angles. So when we have corresponding angles that are congruent, we know then those lines are all parallel. So the midsegment is parallel to your bases. Now, if I keep going here, or let me do this real quick. So we can say that that base is base 1 and that base is base 2. So let's keep sliding and we'll see what happens here. So now we have a second trapezoid and we're going to shift some things around here. So we have base 1 and we have base 2. So we can say that this length is base 1 plus base 2. Now we're going to see how the midsegment compares to the length of base 1 and base 2. So if I keep sliding this, so there's the midsegment, and it's hard to tell, but we can kind of see about how much of that length we think it is. It looks like it's about half, but we're going to keep sliding to double check to see how many midsegments we can fit in here. When I keep sliding, I can fit 2 full midsegments in there. So we can find the midsegment by taking half of your sum of your 2 bases. So that's going to be our formula. All right, let's go back to our presentation here. And so let's go over some of those properties. It is parallel to the bases of the trapezoid, and it is half of the sum of the bases of the trapezoid. So the formula looks like this. So your midsegment is equal to half of your sum of the bases. So that's what our formula looks like. Okay, so let's look at some examples here. So if I look at my first example, I'm given 2 bases, so I just want to do 1/2 of 8 plus 12. 8 plus 12 is 20. So the midsegment is equal to 10. Now, the other way you can kind of think about this is your midsegment is just the number that's in between 8 and 12. 10 is smack dab in the middle of 8 and 12. Over here, you might want to use a calculator for these, but just because we put decimals in there doesn't mean we change anything. It might be a little bit harder to see what's smack dab in the middle of 34 and 10. So we can use our formula, 1/2, 34.6 plus 10.6. So that'd be 1/2 of, nope. Let's go ahead and erase that. Not me. I wasn't counting my 0.6s in there. 45.2. When I take half of that, I can just divide it by 2, and that gives me 22.6. So for this one, my midsegment is 22.6. Alrighty, you're going to have a couple questions tomorrow as well, like this, where you're given the one base and you're given the midsegment, you need to try to find the other base. So you can use your formula, or like I said, you can always just think about, well, 27 is smack dab in the middle of 22 and some other number. So to go from 22 to 27, I added 5. So if I take 27 and add 5, I'm going to get 32. So my other base is going to be 32. Or again, we can also use your formula. So 27 is equal to 1/2 of 22 plus some other side that we don't know. If I do 27 times it by 2 to get rid of that 1/2, that gives me 54 is equal to 22 plus x. When I subtract 22 to both sides, I get 32. So 5.6 to 8.1, if I subtract those two, I get, 2.5. So then if I just take 8.1 and add 2.5, I get 10.6. So that's an adding a 2.5, so I can just add another 2.5 and get my answer. Or again, if you don't really like doing that, because especially since it's decimals, it might be harder to see. If I take 8.1, set it equal to 1/2 times my 5.6 plus x. Let me do 8.1 times 2 to get rid of that fraction. So it gives me 16.2 is equal to 5.6 plus x. When I subtract 5.6 to both sides, I get 10.6. So either way you want to think about those, you can. It's totally up to you. If you have any questions this week with junior classwork, please message me and I will help you out.